It's al-Orq time! Oh, I just can't wait to start murdering! Hello everyone, my name is al-Orq and welcome to the show. Today, we are going to be starting a brand new Let's Play series in Crusader Kings III. First of all, if this is the first time you're seeing any of my videos, welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoy your stay. For any returning viewers, also, I extend the same warm welcome to you. So, let's talk about Crusader Kings. If you've never heard about it before, if you've never played it, I'm going to ask you one simple question. Have you ever watched Game of Thrones or read A Song of Ice and Fire, or literally experienced any sort of media about medieval dynasties and family betrayals and marriages and wars and stuff like that? Well, there you go. That's Crusader Kings. Very, very easy to understand from that perspective. And so today we're going to be beginning a brand new series here. I've already got a bunch of stuff kind of ready to go, and we're going to start in the 867 start date today. So for those who are new to this game, you can start in any of these three dates here, 867, 1066, and 1178. The world is going to look different depending on, which time period you're in. The level of technology is going to be different. Kingdoms are going to be more or less entrenched by the later dates, whereas, in the earlier dates, they're a little bit more scattered, a little bit more fragmented. And I decided that today we were going to do 867. Personally, I'm a really big fan of this start date over the others, just because of how sandboxy it feels. The only downside is that when you start this early, the technology levels take a little while to truly get going, but that is actually going to suit our purposes quite nicely, because we're going to be playing over here in Central Asia, kind of, where Iran modern day is, or like Persia. That's where we're going to be at. So, reason why? I just kind of felt like it. I think this is kind of an interesting part of the world to play in overall. Lots of stuff to do, lots of potential conflicts with all the different territories around here. And in fact, the Safavids are at war with the Tahirids here to the north. They start out that way. So, as an adventurer character, that might be, advantageous. You might get some work very early on. But then you also have the Abbasids to the west. You've got all the stuff here in India and Pakistan to the east, the rest of the Arabian Peninsula, all sorts of fun stuff, and then, of course, everything to our north. And then, we're not too far away from the Byzantines. They're over in that direction. There's no reason why we can't eventually go over there at some point. But we're going to start out here in the Grand Emirate of the Safavids. And so what I've got ready to go, I've got a character already made. This is going to be our first adventurer, our first ruler character, and unfortunately I had to make a change to the coat of arms here, so I'll have to cut away to that. But everything here, this is what I wanted to go with. I was very tempted to make an abomination as my starting ruler, but I thought that that'd just be a little bit too easy, and so instead we're just going to go with an insanely handsome orc to lead our cause and to bring us to glory and victory. And so I'm starting him out at 16 years old. He does not look 16, unless he's like a friggin' jock or something. But he's starting at 16. We're giving him a level 3 in the military education, so +6 to martial. His personality traits are going to be wrathful, brave, and sadistic. I feel like, as far as an orc goes, for the roleplay purposes, I think that that's going to be most fitting. And also, it really helps us focus on the martial, the prowess, and a little bit of intrigue here, as well as some natural dread. So, let me explain all of that really quick. Oh, actually, no. You know what? Let me get the coat of arms figured out, and then I'll get back to you. So I shall return momentarily. Okay, alright, there we go. That looks a lot better. So, I, of course, had to go with the White Hand of Saruman from The Lord of the Rings. Felt that that was the most thematically appropriate here. And we are the al-Orq Dynasty, with our motto being, "Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys! And so I thought that that'd be really funny. And also, though the positioning is kind of off on the shield here, I like that the pointy end is making it kind of look like when our soldiers, whenever they shield bash an enemy, they're like giving them a really, really painful high five. So that kind of looks funny to me. So, yep, we're gonna go with this as our coat of arms logo. And so now, with that, I can explain kind of how this works here. So, Faraz is going to be our first ruler, and I'm going to have him primarily be focused on his martial education, or his martial skill, and his fighting ability, his prowess, with some focus here on intrigue, because that's going to be important for certain jobs later on. And then I gave him 10 here in stewardship, just because having a character with poor stewardship is really rough in a lot of cases, and so then that allows me to make diplomacy my dump stat, because really, diplomacy and to a lesser extent learning we don't need as much, not this early in the game. So primarily just focus on that combat, and as we go along, we're gonna, bring that prowess up even higher, bring that martial up even higher, and we're gonna get better and better. I wanted to start at 16, just because if you see here, my customization points went up from 400 to 408. And so by starting at 16, it just gives you a little bit of extra wiggle room with the stat distribution. And it makes this save file achievement friendly, if that's something that you want to go with, if you wanted to give this a try yourself. Alright, so with that all being said, we're going to go ahead and finalize. We are Master Faraz of the Cockerels of the Stave. Might have to change the name on that right there. Don't know if I like that, but let's go ahead and get started. And we're going to call this the Orc Horde. Alright. Oh, goodness gracious. Alright, so there's going to be, just straight off the bat, I just want to be up front. There's going to be a lot of reading, a lot of text, and I'll explain a lot of different mechanics as they become relevant. The Iranian intermezzo here is not something that we're going to be engaging with for quite a while, because it primarily, at least at first, it primarily only affects landed characters, those that actually have titles of their own, whereas we don't, and so it's not going to concern us as much. But I will still read this because it will become a factor in the overall development of the campaign as time goes on. So, the Iranian Intermezzo. Bloody civil strife embroils the once unassailable Arabian Empire. The ruling family murder and war with one another, competing to usurp the caliphate. Iraq reels whilst beyond the eastern mountains, Persian frontier lords take advantage of the situation to assert their independence, building empires of their own from Baghdad's rubble. Never before has there been such a need for the loyalty and stabilizing diligence of the al-Orq house. This is our time to pursue glory, save the caliphate, and become true champions of the Ash'ari cause. You are one of the involved participants in this Iranian intermezzo. The region is currently in a stage of unrest. Your actions and those of the other participants will determine the future phases of the struggle and its ending. So, you can pause here if you want to take a look at each of these, but essentially, there's going to be a lot of different effects in terms of war, culture, faith, and other different stuff. And like I said, this won't concern us really, at all for the longest time. Not until we become landed ourselves, which I have no idea when that might happen. It just kind of will happen how the story develops. But just know that that's going to be a thing that's going on in the background. And the first actual event that's relevant to us is here. The Roads We Walk. Now, how I'm going to be handling events throughout the entire campaign is that if it's a unique event, it's one that we've not seen before, I'll go ahead and read it out loud. If it's something that we've seen countless times, as you'll come to realize soon enough, then yeah, we'll just go ahead and skip through them and, pick whatever option is the most appropriate. Now, speaking of appropriate options for events, this is a roleplay series, and just to establish a baseline, bit of ground rules here, the way I do roleplay is that, obviously, personality traits are going to affect our decision making, and generally speaking, I'm going to follow that. But depending on how certain things develop, maybe some relationships with certain characters, or whatever the case might be, if the story calls for us to act in a way that we normally wouldn't, then I would make an exception in that particular case, because that's just realistic. That's, real life. There are many times when we, act against our better judgment because of one reason or another. And so that's just going to be how things are. So, the roads we walk. The path ahead stretches on, a lonely winding thread twining towards the distant horizon. My camp is quiet, just a few scattered tents and pack animals yawning in the breeze. Strangers and hangers-on rise with the day, preparing for their morning chores with reluctance. Most are the miscellaneous chaff that flit in and out of a group on the road with each new settlement. Few faces catch my eye as ones I recognize, at least in more than passing. So what this is we are going to be picking who our first two followers are. Generally speaking, if I go sort of the mercenary/bandit route, then I just go with people who are good fighters, because it's sometimes a lot harder to find decent fighters than it is to find people with other skills. So, let's have a look at our first two choices here. I will do my best with the pronunciations, but just know that I look at names like this, and I will do my best. So, Menusir, the Hawk. He's got 21 prowess, which is pretty good. He's sadistic, like we are. He's ambitious and deceitful, so he gets some bonuses to his intrigue stat there. He's a tough soldier, so he's got a little bit of a military education. He's got the unyielding defender trait, which is nice. He's club-footed, which does affect his ability to fight and apparently how attractive he is. And something that he could potentially pass down. He's only 23 years old. 14 martial, not bad. 11 stewardship, also not bad. And honestly, he's a pretty well-rounded character. So let's have a look then at Firdouz, or Firdes. Oh, I'm not entirely sure how you would say that. He is a little bit less talented as a fighter. Part of that is because he's a craven. We'll talk about that. So he's 18 in prowess, 12 in diplomacy, martial, and intrigue. Not great stewardship, okay learning. He's also ambitious. That's kind of cool. Alright. He's gluttonous, and he's craven. So, he's not a particularly respectable guy, all things considered. I'm not entirely sure what he's, ambitious for. But, yeah, that craven is a real big hit to his prowess. -3 there, -2 to the martial there. So, yeah, a little unfortunate, but it does also give him a small bump to his intrigue, so it's not all bad there. Gluttonous isn't great. That's where, he's getting a -2 to his stewardship there. It's also sinful in Islam, and so, it is what it is. He's a desert warrior as a commander, so actually, that's a pretty decent trait. He's already got the gallant trait, which helps offset some of his debuffs there from Craven. So, honestly, he's not bad either. He's only 26, and he's also known as the Griffin. Interesting. I'm probably going to go with these guys, but let's go ahead and take a look at these two martial-focused characters, just because they might have something else to offer. So he's Sirksop the Compassionate, 41 years old. That's not particularly great. He's apparently slightly handsome. Look at that. He's a little bit of a looker. Look at that mustache. Glorious. He's compassionate, generous, and diligent. Honestly, his martial is incredible. That's better than ours. His diplomacy is also really good, but we really don't need him. And then Bozorg. I like your name, dude. Alright, Bozorg the Honest. Diligent also. He's honest and humble. Pretty decent military education. He's a holy warrior. Not great, especially if we're going to be sticking around in this region of the world. Decent learning. Yeah, he's okay. And then I'll take a look at these other two here. Decent intrigue. Also decent intrigue. But they are not nearly as useful as these guys. So, those are going to be our first two followers. Menusir. If you guys know how to pronounce that, please give me some insight. I would love to learn. And then Firdouz, the Griffin. I'm just going to call him Firdouz for now, because that rolls right off the tongue. So, welcome to Crusader Kings III. Wow, we are already, what is this? 18 minutes into the recording. Some of that was cut out, but yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Enough with the yapping, although there's going to be more yapping in short order. So this is Crusader Kings in the 867 start date. I'm just going to give a quick overview of the world here, just kind of scroll through it and show you what everything kind of looks like. So down here in sub-Saharan Africa, in East Africa, you got a lot of fragmented nations, but then you have Ghana, you have Adrar, you have Kanem, you know, all of that stuff. So then, you know, you got here the Tulunids in Egypt, Abbasids, to their east. We've got the Byzantines here, the Greeks in modern-day Turkey, of course, and then in Iberia, obviously we got some conflicts already off the bat. They're dealing with a struggle of their own. So we've got the Iranian intermezzo. This is the Iberian struggle. So they have their own sort of mechanics with that. So you have the Muslim nations and you know, like duchy titles and all that stuff to the south. Then you have all the Catholic kingdoms and small little counties. Or actually, these guys are not Catholic, but you know, you get the point. They're Christians. Then you've got, you know, West Francia here, all that stuff, good stuff. Lotharingia, East Francia, Italy. So all the Carlings, yeah, they're gonna be having a good time. And then British Isles are rather fragmented. Scandinavia, rather fragmented. Eastern Europe, also the same. Bulgaria, freaking huge. Look at you go. Khazaria over here to our northwest. And then you got the Kyrgyz Khanate up there in Siberia. And then, you know, rather fragmented looking Indian subcontinent, as well as Western China. Also, this is like my favorite kingdom title in the entire game. The Kingdom of U. Umlaut U. Awesome stuff. Alright, with that being said, let's not waste any more time. I'm just being silly here. So, first thing I want to do is assign some roles to our new followers. So it looks like Menusir here is going to be a good second for us. And that's going to give us +3 to all of our stats right straight down the line. Good stuff, and look at that. So it already brings up our stats here. Even our weak diplomacy is almost at 10, so not bad at all. So neither of them would make a good caravan master. Both of them are average bodyguards. I'm not going to make either of them stooges. And yeah, they don't have the capacity to be a personal physician. Okay, no worries. So we'll pick up a caravan master just as we recruit more people. So let's go ahead and visit the castle holding here, right here at the in the capital, and see what we might have available to us. We can take a look at the castle and go to the training grounds. So here you can increase your prowess in exchange for 90 gold. We only have 20. We can't convince this guy to join us because we don't have the right position available for him. You can go to the garrison to recruit people. Why is Sadiq here 440 gold? That is utterly insane. Like, yeah, his stats are decent. He's got the Hassel Looter trait, the Hunter trait, you know, decent martial education, but like, he's not that good. Like, Ayub here is just as, like, almost just as good of a fighter as him, and that's more of what I would need. Plus, he's got some rather interesting traits. Now, how you negotiate and reconcile being compassionate and a torturer is beyond me. Is that... Mikola, is that you? Alright, anyway, you can also play some dice. 30% chance that we would win, but also it's more likely that we would lose. And I don't want to lose what little money that we have. So nothing for us to do there. We can go ahead and hear a story by the fire. So we have a 2% chance to increase our martial, 100%, or sorry, 32% chance to get the experience to our lifestyle, or to just get the temporary bonus, and we get the temporary bonus. Okay, so hooded figure, 30 intrigue is pretty awesome. Probably couldn't convince her to join, right? Only 8% chance to do that. However, she could just teach me, or give me some intrigue experience. That's interesting. I'm going to go ahead and try to see if she'll join us. Yeah, and she ignored us. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Just, you never know. Just because it's an 8% chance doesn't mean it's not impossible. Or it doesn't mean it's 0. So we got Ashti here. 17 intrigue is pretty good. She's 20 years old. She's too expensive. Vahab is just willing to join us, although he's... Why are all of his stats 0? That doesn't seem right. Yeah, his stats shouldn't be. He's intelligent. He's a 32-year-old. Sadistic, paranoid, and ambitious, so he'd be a good fit for our team. He's willing to join us for free, but yeah, his... Okay. Yeah, that's a bug. That's definitely a bug. There's no reason why his stats should be 3. His intelligence stat alone, or his intelligent trait alone, makes his stats plus 3 by default. Yeah, I'm not sure what this is, so I'm gonna go ahead and dismiss him. Aww, that's 75 prestige? Do we make him our stooge? I guess we just make him our stooge. Okay. Alright, well, there's nothing here for us, and I just kind of wanted to show that off. So, we're starting out here, at least in the capital, and immediately surrounding us, we've got 2 criminal contracts, and 1 stewardship contract that's something that we could potentially explore. So, nothing related to combat or anything like that, but that's okay, because our goal is going to be... well, first things first, I think we're gonna become freebooters. Before we think about doing anything military-wise, I think we just make as much money as we possibly can. It also unlocks some interesting upgrades for our camp, which I'll show you in just a second. And yeah, there's some stuff that we can do with that. I think we're going to be freebooters. And now, instead of Master Faraz, we are Boss Faraz. And yeah, I'm going to change the name of the Cockerels of the Stave here. Don't know what I'm going to do just yet. Maybe we're just the Orc Horde. And as for adjective, we are the Horde. Cool. As for our map color, that's not gonna be relevant for quite some time, but let's just make it something kind of vaguely orcish. Looks like it's close-ish to our coat of arms there. Alright. Oh, hang on a second. That did not do what I thought it was going to do. We're just going to call ourselves Orc Horde. And if the adjective has a problem in text, I'll also make the change there. All right, Boss Faraz of the Orc Horde. There we go. We are Adventurer Realm freebooters. We're going to go around and just plunder the world. Let's go ahead and set our martial education, or sorry, our lifestyle focus. And I think initially, I want to go down Stalwart Leader for that prowess bonus, Chivalric Dominance for the plus 75% Knight effectiveness, and then probably all the way down to Household Guard. Maybe I'll get to Never Back Down and just kind of stop there until I need more Knights. But then, from that point on, we'll work on maybe Overseer, some stuff in Strategist. There's plenty of perks that we can explore for our character there. Let's see here. Okay, anything that we can do. Stooge. Ah, Vahab will be an excellent stooge. Ha! Nice. Alright, there we go. So look, just because he's our camp follower doesn't mean we can't find a use for him. Just because he's useless doesn't mean we can't do something with him. I've never actually seen someone with an excellent aptitude for being a stooge, so that'll be interesting. I'm curious to see what events pop up with that. We have no intrigue plots. We have no real decisions that we can take, except for we can humiliate the stooge if we need to blow off some stress. There's some activities that we could potentially do, but we don't have any money for those at the moment. We don't have anyone in our military other than our followers there, and so yeah, there's that. Okay, there's not a whole lot more that we need to do here. I think I've got everything just about set up. Let's go ahead and take our first job here. Confidence Trickster. Don't know how successful it will actually be, but we could potentially gain 110 gold from this, which should get us started really, really nicely. Yeah, we don't have a caravan master, so instead we're gonna scout for talent and just go ahead and hope for the best. If we encounter anything dangerous, it is what it is. Although it's pretty close, so I don't anticipate anything too crazy. Alrighty. Oh, let me turn the speed down for just a second. Alright, trust me. Our first character event. So this is us deciding how we're going to get on with things. This is not very likely to succeed, I gotta be honest. So we're gonna do what we can. Got that. Okay, thief, a tumbler, Firdues. You would... Oh, goodness. Okay, hang on a second. Let me move that away. Firdues would be better as a thug. So that brings our success chance up to 91%. That's not bad at all. We're going to go ahead and then allow that to be the thing. What is this? The Art of Delegation. Naib Aram has his court and I have mine. The difference is, where Aram's retainers are content to live off of his largesse, my followers are determined to help me help myself to a little of that same wealth. I spend my time working towards our eventual payday, and they, in turn, can rob Aram blind whilst he's preoccupied. It's always nice to know that you have people you can rely on. So, what's this? What is this? Hang on. Combined diplomacy, martial stewardship, intrigue, learning, and prowess challenge. Okay, so just like combining literally everything. We could say, with me, Menasir, let's keep him busy. 59% chance to succeed. We get 50 gold. He would lose 10 opinion of us because he would be suspicious, and we'd gain some experience in the trickster trait. Looks like that would happen regardless. You just get a little bit less. Otherwise, 40% chance that our officer fails us. And then we would get further of an opinion loss. He also, Menasir, would be suspicious of us for some reason. Okay. Too risky, we'd better not. You know what? Let's try it. 59% chance. It's a little bit better than the coin flip. And it worked. Nice. So we're 50 gold richer, just like that. Alright, I'm going to pause the game just for a second to kind of just assess the situation here. Alright, so we brought our success up to 91% chance there. That's pretty good. We have a 39% chance for secrecy, and the face time looks like it's pretty bad. Oh man, the end of our journey. We're already sick? God damn it. Okay. Boss or peasant, high or low, it does not matter. In the end, we are all mortal. I was reminded of this as I woke coughing in the early morning hours, a dull ache pounding through my head and throat. My body is racked by shivers and weakness, my head leaking from every orifice. Oh, unfortunate, my dude. Surely there must be someone in the realm I can get to fix this cursed condition. Alright, well, we don't have a camp physician, so unfortunately that's not going to be a thing. Vahab is now known as the Wolf. Oh, okay, here we go. Here we go. That's what I was more thinking of. Yeah, actually, it was curious. I didn't even notice that like Vahab was the one I assigned to be the thief there, and that his skill was incredibly high. This is what his stats should have been like. Okay, well, hang on. Does he still have the excellent... No, he does not have the prowess to be the stooge anymore. But you know what? We're gonna keep him like that. But you know what? As compensation, I'll assign him as our caravan master for now. Okay, I think that's fair. All right, but that's more of what I was talking about. That definitely seemed like a bug, and why I felt like I was probably still okay to hire him. He's not a great fighter, which is unfortunate, but he's got good learning. He's got good intrigue, so he could actually be helpful on certain jobs, especially the more criminal ones. Okay, cool. Well, with that being said, let's go ahead and I'm going to put it up onto speed 5. Typically, I like to play on speed 5 unless I'm just kind of being a little bit more casual. And then I'll be at speed 4. Oh, look at that. Just like that, we are no longer sick. Awesome. Alright, let's keep going. These face times are rather long. 120 days, or 118? Yikes. That's really not great, and we don't have anyone that could make that shorter. Travails of a cook. I don't think we're being unreasonable, snarks the cook, who presumably drew the short straw in coming to speak to me, waving an arm dismissively at the surrounding terrain all the while. Thrust halfway to the sky itself and throats parched good and dry, and we can't even try to stock up on some of the little luxuries that make our food bearable? I sigh, weary of the conversation already. I wonder which one of us will break first. These feel like the ravings of a lunatic. I checked the stocks just this morning, and we should be well supplied for months to come. So we could say, what are you even complaining about? And that would increase our just general opinion of our followers. We could spend money to get provisions, which we're not going to do because we're full on provisions, as you see up here in the corner. Absolutely not. Work with what you got. And that's going to decrease our provisions use for 10 years. And what does a well-provided camp get us? Oh, that's the opinion boost. Nope. Use what you got. Suck it up, Buttercup. Oh, another event here. Side hustle. It seems that Menusir has been working towards things other than our goal with Naib Aram. He's used this time at court to lay the groundwork for tricking a fair sum out of Aram, something he neglected to tell me before I overheard him boasting about it to one of the camp hands. Alright, so I could say, how enterprising. Of course, we'll split your gains. 64% chance of success, he would give us 25 gold, and Aram would give Menusir the rest. And then 36% chance that doesn't. Just as likely, I could just tell him to carry on, and he would gain 50 gold, just like that. He'd have a little bit of back pocket change there. And I could tell Menusir, stop that, you fool, you risk my work. Which, I could say, he is kind of doing that. But also, you know, if he's going to be enterprising, I think I want a little bit of the cut. And that worked out. Wonderful. A follower's heart. Boss Faraz, my leader, I have met the most seductive woman here in Doro. My champion Menasir the Hawk stumbles as he addresses me. Your family will not let us marry without me paying a sizable dowry, he stutters sadly. Please, help me. So I could spend 43 gold to have Naz join our camp. She honestly isn't half bad. Got decent stewardship. Intrigue and learning is okay, and the other two stats are whatever. She's a tough soldier, apparently, without any prowess ability of her own, I guess, and a military engineer of some sort. Cool. She just found a very, very specific hyperfixation and stuck with it. She is diligent, after all. So we could, yes, just pay that. We could try to convince her to elope, and that's a 67% chance. I think we're going to try that. See if we can't just do it. And it worked out. And now, Menusir is our friend. Hell yeah, he's our second, our champion, and our friend. What a lovely companion, all things considered. So that's our first friend, and we're only 17 years old. Lovely. So, burning at both ends. It's clear that my friend Menusir is sincerely putting all into my confidence trickster contract, despite dedicating sleepless nights and long days to our goals. Perhaps it is cruel of me to use one who is dear to me so. Certainly I cannot say I would like to be used so. Still, he is effective, and it's for a good cause. So I could say you could do more and so much more. That would put him into critical stress, and he would gain, or he would have a mental break. But that would make each scheme phase faster by 10 days, base 10% success chance, and maximum success chance up to 10%. You know, it doesn't affect his opinion of me. Sorry, Menasir, we're working. We got a job to do, man. Alright, and that will make this a little bit easier as we wait. Because I'm trying to get it closer to that 100%. Right now, we're only at a 48% chance of success. It just takes a little while. As we recruit more people, and in fact, we did just recruit somebody. Well, so Naz could make the scheme time just a little extra quick. It's every little bit will help. What is this? Heard of you. Following a sentry, I enter a dimly lit tent next to my pavilion, where a bedraggled trio of locals await me. They look nervous, as though being here were a risk. One of them stands before giving me a truly awful bow. Greetings, your lordship. Name's Yezid. The big lad is Kurushe, and the other is Kavus. We're here to enlist. We're hard workers, at least within our field, and the way we sees it, you could use some help building up your name and lining your pockets. I don't know why these guys sound like they're, like, from, from, like, northern England, or, like, the rural northern England, you know. We're hard workers, you see, at least within our field. And anyway, so, they want to join us. Yezid has decent stewardship, decent diplomacy. He's shrewd, which is interesting. He's a gallows bait, a thief. Okay. A charismatic negotiator. He's arrogant, zealous, and greedy. Kurushe is a pretty decent fighter and commander, so and he's strong. That's pretty good. He's diligent, wrathful, and stubborn. Alright, decent stewardship as well. He'd make a pretty good fit for us. And then Kavus, he's got okay intrigue. He's unfortunately a bleeder. I think that means that he's anemic, and that's unfortunate. He's wrathful like us, and callous and diligent as well. Otherwise, not too great stat-wise. He's just an amateurish plotter. But I think we ought to bring them in. Why not? They all seem like they might be a good bunch. Let's go ahead and see. Oops. For the Gabber, let's remove her from that. Anyone better? Actually, let's take Yazid off just for a second. Yeah, I had a feeling. Cool, so that's going to make things faster there, and then Kurushe can become our tumbler, and that is every single agent slot filled. So it's going to make things a little bit faster, and every little bit helps, I think. Alright, a pleasure to work with. It's truly fortunate that I'm afforded a chance to plan this contract with my friend Menasir by my side. A better, more observant aide no man could ask for, always willing to go the extra mile for our needs, always focused on how best to advance the contract. Most recently, his work has resulted in a shortcut that should save us in a significant amount of time. Cool, that's an extra 2 advantages. Makes things a little bit helpful, more helpful. So, we could execute the scheme here with confidence. That would give us up to 71% chance of success. I think I'm going to go for it. I've been sitting on this one for far longer than I expected to. And it worked. Nice. That's 110 gold. Our first job was a success. A resounding one, in fact. Let's go ahead and we're going to travel back home. And just in time for us to gain our first martial perk. So, first off, Stalwart Leader. Get that extra prowess. And now we're 18 years old. Look at his beard. Part of me is curious if it might be better to get like a bigger beard, you know, maybe get one that's, you know, bushier. But hey, he's 18, it only just grew in, we'll give it some time. But 18 years old, already a prowess of 29, which is fantastic. Intrigue of 20, not half bad either, my friends. Get a +1 to diplomacy with having the trickster trait. That's kind of cool. Alright, nice. Alright, that was our first job. What else do we have? Confidence Trickster, and what is this? That's also Confidence Trickster. Okay. Nothing very interesting, so I think what we're going to do is we're going to move our camp over to Bam. We're going to Bam, Alabama. And we have a hob here as our guide. It's going to cost 700 provisions, roughly. So I think that's alright. And now you can see the little icon on the map as we travel over the hills and mountains and deserts. Starving soldiers. A figure stumbles into camp, dirty and tired, clearly in need of a square meal. His name is Noshirwan. The Merciful, he says. There are more like me, he gestures off into the distance. All of us left to rot after every petty conflict ends. Our sword arms work as well as ever, but our lot is to wander and starve. We're the only ones left who won't rob the vulnerable for food and valuables. His eyes glint with determination despite his haggard breathing. I'd rather die. So, because we're sadistic and the gallows bait, we could say you're better than I and more foolish. And we could rob him blind for 20 gold and take his brooch, which would give us 2 prowess, 0.03 prestige per month, plus 3% night effectiveness, and attraction opinion. I could have him join us. He's not a particularly great fighter, but he is good at intrigue, although he's forgiving, trusting, and patient. I don't know if he's a compassionate absolver. He's merciful. I don't know. He might not be a good fit for our camp, guys. Sorry, my dude. You happen to encounter the Orc Horde, and the Orc Horde takes what it needs. So, that means we have our first trinket. And we're going to go ahead and equip it right away. So just like that, we now have 31 prowess. Alright, we are an insanely talented fighter just because we put a little piece of swag on. Excellent. We can burn property, we can uncover a secret. So, got plenty of stuff to do here. So we got Heist Treasury. That, I think, is what we're going to go for first. But first things first. I want to go ahead and get an upgrade building here in camp, our first one, and I'm going to go ahead and get the barber's tent started, because the barber's tent gives us a little bit of passive income, gives us some disease resistance, and makes us take a little bit fewer casualties, which is nice. Not that we're necessarily expecting to enter combat or like enter war anytime soon. It's just a nice thing to have. The sooner you build something like this, the more you get to benefit from it long term. The more money we'll make as the game goes on. I do also just want to take a moment to acknowledge the music here. Beautiful. As someone who grew up going to mosque, it is, yeah, just gorgeous, just gorgeous. All right, let's go ahead and we're gonna do one more contract here for the first episode before I actually have to cut things a little bit shorter than I expected. So, let's see. So we got burned property right where we're standing. We've got the heist treasury, and we've got hired muscle. Well, first, let's actually see if there's anyone we could potentially recruit. Let's go ahead and hear a story. Parishan is... I almost wish I could, like, marry her. She is exactly as old as... she's the same age as us. She's got decent prowess, and, I mean, stats aren't great otherwise, but... Eager Reveler. Kind of like that. You know what? I'm willing to pay the 18 gold to get the Hasta Looter trait, so that gives us a little bit of wit, and we'll see about maybe building that up as time goes on. We have Nexin here, Nexin, there you go. She's 21, greedy, shy, and diligent, naive appeaser. Stats aren't great, honestly just not great in general. We apparently think that she's very pretty, but let's move on. Another character named Nexin, who's surprisingly a really good fighter, although unfortunately I wouldn't be able to use her for anything. But that organizer trait is really nice. That's actually, like, low-key one of my favorite commander traits. Oh, wow! Bella Luke also has the organizer trait, but she's not as good. She's also, she's a wise woman. Then we have Kamran here, who has got really good learning, really good stewardship, a decent martial, but a terrible fighter, so just not, and also not good intrigue, so just not really a good fit for us. So, no one really here. Vahab, you're really living up to your title there. Look at that goofball. Alright, well, let's see. Anyone we can recruit from the... Ooh, wow. Bextiar here, 25. He's 21 prowess, 15 martial. He's a blade master and a forder. Vengeful, cynical, and honest. Yeah. How much is he? 58 gold? I think I'm willing to pay that. Naveed isn't as good, but he has that robust trait, which is nice. Gives him that extra prowess and potentially something he could pass on to a child. A potential, you know, future camp follower. You never know. But I'm definitely going to pay for Bextiar here. He's fantastic.
Yo, dumbass, you clicked the wrong guy.
He's exactly what we're looking for. The training grounds, we don't have enough money there, so we can just leave. I think that's it. Okay. One more job, and I think we'll call it good. And I think we're going to do the heist treasury, because heists are some of the best ways to make money, period. So let's go ahead and do it. It's also really close to us. Danger, not a prop, so we've got a travel event. Our journey to North Jaz Murian has unfortunately brought us directly through the wastelands of Rikan. We were not prepared to undertake this long stretch without a single source of water, and many of my companions have begun to look as awful as dried turnips. I need to do something, and fast. Can give an inspiring speech. Could interrogate Vahab. You know what? Let's interrogate Vahab. We gained 10 dread, and we apparently found some water. Nice, that worked out. A spot of larceny. Preliminary scouting around North Jaz Murian suggests we might be able to get away with this. It's not the only place that Naib Lokba keeps his coin, but his holdings here definitely have plenty, and the guards don't seem to expect hostilities. In other words, risky, but doable. All we need is a cunning plan. Well, let's just... I'm going to pick the get on with our task, because I want to maximize our success chance. So, Menasir is going to be our thief. Vahab is going to be our second thief. We'll have Firduz be our... Actually, you know what? Let's give Kavus something to do. So he's going to be our scout. Firduz will be our infiltrator. And then we'll just have Naveed, our newest follower here, become our footpad. So that brings our success chance up to 96%, which is pretty great. And then we'll get a little extra from getting the 5 advantages. Fortunately, we'll also be able to do this rather quickly. Lay of the land. None in my camp are intimately familiar with the terrain in North Jaz Murian, and such lands are not to be trifled with. It is for this reason that I find myself standing in front of a local guide, bartering for services to be rendered. It's no joke out there, he offers, drawing air in through gritted teeth, a theatrically worried gesture. You'll need either these maps or my services. I can tell you that for free. He is right, but there's something about his demeanor that makes me hesitate. So, could recruit him. His name is Feda. He's a decent commander, not a great fighter, but he is sadistic and ambitious, a little bit lazy, as all of us can be sometimes. So I could pay to recruit him. He would become our new caravan master, and he does not have a good aptitude for it. Could just pay him for the maps. I could ask him, or I could give him 5 gold and just ask for some advice. Not as likely... 54% chance to get well guided, which would increase our provisions gain, travel safety, and reduce our danger. 36% chance we get the opposite effect, and that would make travel more dangerous for 3 years. 9% chance we lose 15 gold and the brooch that we just got, and we would get wounded. You know what? We're gonna make a decent amount of money. I'm willing to pay for the maps for right now. Feda doesn't seem like he'd be a great fit for our crew, but I will take his information. It'll also make things a little bit easier going forward. What's the point? Naz has stopped bathing, stopped even making an attempt to clean herself even, a fact I am brutally confronted with when several of my followers beg me to deal with her. I know what you're thinking, boss, but it's not laziness. Quite the opposite. I'm a simple woman, dedicated to my tasks, and there's only so much time in the day. Why bother cleaning when the dust of tomorrow's road will be upon me in the morning anyhow? She's mad, or a fool, or both. So we could say this is not some little task to skip, and I would gain a hygiene disciplinarian for 10 years, which would just increase opinion in general, while she would lose 20 opinion of us. She has stinking for 10 years. Increase the stress loss, that's kind of cool, but also minus 10 general opinion, yeah? And everyone does not like her nearly as much as they did before. I could say, you make a good point, and I could also be stinking and get the same modifier. I can say, simply ride ahead, far ahead, and get some prestige there. Yeah, you know what? Go ahead. Take point. Get the hell out of here. Just don't be near me. Whatever. Silly stuff. Crimes of passion. My goodness, event after event. Rounding a little cluster of tents as I leave my pavilion, I come across a gaggle of followers having dinner around a small hearth. Curiously, both Vahab and Menusir are amongst them, neither of whom particularly enjoy one another's company. Before I have time to ponder such a strange quirk of seating, Menusir mutters something inaudible, that should say inaudible, only for the whisper to send Vahab into a blind rage. With a flash, a weapon is drawn and blood is about to be spilled. Alright, so... I can intervene. I'm not going to do that. Why not settle this with a proper duel? I will gain 150 prestige. I'm going to lose some stress that I don't have because I'm wrathful. I can imprison Vahab, which I could do, which also kind of sounds tempting. But you know what? Let's take the prestige, and I fully expect that Menusir will win, because he's got much better prowess, but I suppose anything is possible. I have seen weirder things occur. And weirder things have occurred. Wow. Menusir has died. Holy crap. Alright, well, Vahab is, he was surprisingly victorious. He killed our friend. I wonder if I'm going to I wonder what I'm going to do about that. You know what? And I think I'm going to go ahead and leave things here. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know I said I was going... You know what? Never mind. I changed my mind. I changed my mind. Don't worry. Put the pitchforks down. There we go. we made our money. So we robbed his treasury, and let's go ahead and get back to camp. So let's see, we need to appoint a new second, I suppose. It's going to be Firdu, I think. Yeah. Because he was our other follower at the start. Okay, we're back at camp. We've made a decent amount of money. We lost a follower, and our best, or not our best friend, but he was our friend. And yeah, the plot thickens. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this, I would really appreciate it if you subscribe to the channel. Helps things grow. Leave a like and comments as well for engagement purposes. And I will see you guys in the next one. Have a nice day.